which importantly are framed as One of the dynamics you see here is that once one of these ideas takes hold, it tends to spread and kind of sink in. And so as you go several years forward and you get not terribly legally expert officials who deal in various UN bodies, and they keep hearing that the UN has its one China principle or something like that. And so what it led to, for example, is that when member states would submit their human rights reports that basically, and particularly their UN Sustainable Development Goal reports to UNDESA, they started to get rejected. That is, they were submitted by Taiwan's diplomatic partners, they used language other than province of China, and the UN officials would no longer receive them. That was a vast overreading of what the OLA memorandum, the Legal Affairs Office memorandum said, and eventually, in very recent times, they've backtracked and have started to accept these documents again. And we have rules about determining whether Taiwan is or is not a state. We have rules of determining who has sovereignty over the territory of Taiwan. We have rules, they're very hard to apply, we can't adjudicate them. But the idea that we could call it a rule of international law that says Taiwan is part of China, that's far-fetched. And I think that's why you see this leaning on 2758 and this leaning on OLA memoranda, which importantly are framed as interpretations of 2758. And it is a bad argument which, if accepted, greatly marginalizes Taiwan in the international system and makes it much harder for the US and others to justify supporting Taiwan and trying to deter China from coercive measures to achieve unification. To the extent that one sees or can argue that there are connections between what China is doing on the Taiwan issue through 2758 and other related means, and what many see as a revisionist agenda for international law more generally, then what's at stake is not just Taiwan, it is structural features of an international legal system that has been pretty good at keeping the peace and promoting prosperity, and has even been pretty good for China for the last several decades. For effective pushback, it's helpful to have it not just be a US-China or US plus Taiwan's diplomatic allies against China situation. That looks too much purely political. And if you have a broader buy-in that says this isn't just about our Taiwan policies, it's about norms of the operation of the international system that are shared by a bunch of states, then that's more effective.